President Trump's new Social Security plan could put an extra $600 in your monthly check, and I'm going to break down exactly how this works for you. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm here today because so many of you have been asking about the changes coming to Social Security under the Trump administration. You've heard the headlines, you've seen the numbers, but you want the real story, the facts that matter to your monthly check. Let me start by saying this. If you're receiving Social Security retirement benefits, SSDI, SSI, or even VA benefits, the next 4 years could bring some significant changes to your financial picture. Some of these changes are already in motion, while others are still working their way through Congress. Today, I'm going to walk you through President Trump's Social Security agenda step by step. No political spin, no confusing jargon, just the information you need to understand what's happening and how it affects you personally. The $600 increase you've been hearing about isn't just one single change. It's the potential combined effect of several different policy moves. Let me explain each one so you can see the bigger picture. First, there's the elimination of federal taxes on Social Security benefits. Right now, if your combined income exceeds certain thresholds, you might be paying federal taxes on up to 85% of your Social Security benefits. Trump's plan would eliminate these taxes entirely. For many of you, this could mean keeping an extra $200 to $400 per month that currently goes to the IRS. Here's how this works in real numbers. Let's say you're a single person receiving $2,000 monthly in Social Security, and you have $30,000 in other income per year. Under current rules, you'd likely pay federal taxes on 85% of your Social Security benefits. Eliminating this tax could save you roughly $300 per month, depending on your tax bracket. For married couples, the savings can be even more substantial. If you and your spouse are both receiving Social Security and have modest retirement income from pensions or savings, you could see combined tax savings of $500 to $800 per month. That's real money that stays in your pocket instead of going to Washington. The second major component involves cost of living adjustments, or COLAs. Trump has indicated support for reforming how these annual increases are calculated. Currently, COLAs are based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners, which many argue doesn't accurately reflect the spending patterns of seniors. The proposed change would tie COLA increases to the Consumer Price Index for the elderly, or CPIE. This index gives more weight to healthcare and housing costs, the expenses that actually impact your daily life. Historical data shows that CPIE typically runs about 0.2 to 0.4 percentage points higher than the current index. That might not sound like much, but it compounds over time. If your current monthly benefit is $1,800, an additional 0.3% COLA each year means an extra $65 per month by the end of Trump's term. Over a decade, this difference becomes substantial, potentially adding $150 or more to your monthly check. The third piece involves expanding eligibility and benefits for certain groups. Trump has proposed increasing minimum Social Security benefits for low-income workers who've paid into the system for at least 30 years. This change would primarily help people who worked in lower-wage jobs throughout their careers but still contributed to Social Security for decades.
Now, let's talk about when you might actually see these changes in your bank account. This is where things get complicated, and I want to be completely honest with you about the timeline.
The tax elimination on Social Security benefits could happen relatively quickly. This type of change typically requires congressional approval, but with Republican control of both chambers, it could move through the legislative process within the first year of Trump's presidency. If passed in 2025, you might see the effects in your 2026 tax filing, with potential adjustments to your withholding starting mid-2025. However, the COLA reform is more complex. Changing how Social Security calculates annual increases requires coordination between multiple federal agencies and extensive actuarial analysis. The Social Security Administration would need to implement new data collection and calculation systems. Realistically, this change might not take effect until 2026 or 2027. The minimum benefit increases face the biggest hurdles. These changes require not just congressional approval, but also long-term funding solutions. Social Security's trustees would need to analyze the financial impact on the system's solvency. This type of reform typically takes 18 to 24 months to implement, even after approval. Here's something important to understand. These changes don't happen in a vacuum. Each proposal affects Social Security's long-term financial stability. The program's trust funds are already projected to face challenges in the early 2030s. Any benefit increases or tax reductions must be balanced against the program's long-term sustainability. Trump's team has indicated they plan to offset some of these costs through economic growth and improved efficiency in government operations. They argue that reducing taxes on Social Security benefits will stimulate consumer spending, which creates jobs and generates more payroll tax revenue. Whether this approach provides sufficient funding remains a subject of ongoing analysis. For those of you currently receiving benefits, here's what you should know about the transition period. Your current benefits won't be reduced or interrupted during any of these changes. Social Security has built-in protections that prevent benefit cuts during policy transitions. If you're worried about your February or March check, don't be. These changes take time to implement, and your monthly payments continue as scheduled. The impact of Trump's plan varies depending on what type of benefits you receive. Let me break this down for each major category so you understand what applies to your situation. If you're receiving Social Security retirement benefits, you're likely to see the most comprehensive impact. The tax elimination affects you directly if you're currently paying federal taxes on your benefits. The COLA reform would apply to your annual increases starting in 2026 or 2027. If you worked in lower-wage jobs for most of your career, the minimum benefit changes might also boost your monthly check. For those receiving Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, most of Trump's proposals apply to you as well. SSDI recipients are subject to the same federal taxation rules as retirement beneficiaries. You also receive the same COLA increases each year. The minimum benefit improvements would help SSDI recipients who had long work histories but lower earnings. Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, recipients face a more complex situation. SSI benefits aren't subject to federal income tax, so the tax elimination doesn't directly help you. However, the COLA reforms would apply to SSI payments. Trump has also suggested reviewing SSI asset limits, which haven't been updated since 1989. Increasing these limits would allow SSI recipients to save more money without losing benefits. Veterans receiving disability compensation through the VA would see indirect benefits from Trump's broader economic policies, but most of his Social Security reforms don't directly affect VA benefits. However, veterans who also receive Social Security benefits would benefit from the tax changes and COLA reforms for their Social Security payments. One important consideration for all benefit recipients involves state taxes. While Trump's plan eliminates federal taxes on Social Security benefits, some states still tax these benefits. The plan doesn't change state tax policies, so you'll need to check your state's rules separately. Let me address something that's causing confusion among many viewers. Some online sources have suggested that these changes could result in immediate, dramatic increases to monthly checks. That's not accurate, and I don't want you to have unrealistic expectations. The $600 figure represents the potential combined impact of all these changes over time for someone in a specific income and tax situation. Your actual benefit increase will depend on your current income, tax situation, and benefit amount. Some of you might see more than $600 in additional monthly income, while others might see less.
The key is understanding that these changes work together to improve your overall financial picture. Even if the monthly benefit increase is modest, keeping more of your Social Security income by eliminating federal taxes can have a significant impact on your monthly budget. As we move forward with these potential changes, there are several practical steps you can take to prepare and maximize any benefits that come your way. First, if you're currently having federal taxes withheld from your Social Security benefits, don't make any immediate changes to your withholding. Wait until the tax elimination is officially signed into law before adjusting your tax planning. Making premature changes could result in unexpected tax bills or complications with your 2025 tax filing. Second, if you're approaching Social Security eligibility, these proposed changes shouldn't alter your claiming strategy significantly. The fundamental math of Social Security, the benefits of delaying retirement to age 70 versus claiming early, remains the same regardless of these policy changes. Focus on your overall financial situation and health status when making claiming decisions. Third, keep detailed records of any communications you receive from the Social Security Administration about benefit changes. When major policy shifts occur, SSA typically sends detailed notices explaining how the changes affect your specific situation. These notices are important for your tax planning and financial records. Now, there's another crucial aspect of Trump's Social Security agenda that goes beyond just the monthly payment increases, and that involves the long-term financial stability of the entire system. Now, there's another crucial aspect of Trump's Social Security agenda that goes beyond just the monthly payment increases, and that involves the long-term financial stability of the entire system. Here's where I need to level with you, because this is the part that most politicians and news outlets aren't explaining clearly. While Trump's plan sounds fantastic on paper, there are serious roadblocks that could prevent you from seeing a single penny of these increases. The biggest issue is Social Security's looming funding crisis. The program's trust funds are projected to run dry by 2034. When that happens, the system can only pay about 77% of your current benefits using incoming payroll taxes alone. That means automatic cuts of roughly 23% across the board for everyone: retirees, disabled workers, and survivors alike. Here's the uncomfortable math that nobody wants to talk about. Trump's proposals would actually make this crisis worse, not better. Eliminating federal taxes on Social Security benefits removes approximately $48 billion per year from the program's revenue. The enhanced COLA calculations would increase yearly benefit payments by billions more. Without finding new money to replace these funds, these popular changes could push the trust fund depletion date forward by 2 to 3 years. Think about what this means for you personally. You might see your monthly check increase by $300 or $400 due to tax elimination. But if that change accelerates the trust fund crisis, you could face benefit cuts of $350 or more per month starting in the early 2030s. The temporary gain becomes a permanent loss that affects the rest of your retirement. Congressional analysts are already raising red flags about this math. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimates that Trump's Social Security proposals could cost the program over $2 trillion during the next decade. That's money that has to come from somewhere, either through higher taxes on workers, cuts to other government programs, or increased federal borrowing. Some economists argue that Trump's broader economic policies will generate enough growth to solve this problem. The theory is that lower taxes and reduced regulations will create so many jobs that payroll tax collections will skyrocket. However, Social Security actuaries have analyzed similar promises from previous administrations. The results show that even optimistic economic growth scenarios don't generate enough additional revenue to offset the costs of these benefit increases. There's also a political reality we need to discuss. Democrats in Congress are unlikely to support benefit increases that aren't fully funded. Many Republicans are also concerned about adding to the national debt. This creates a situation where Trump's proposals might not have enough votes to pass, even with Republican control of both chambers. Let me walk you through exactly what needs to happen for these changes to reach your bank account, because the process is more complicated than most people realize. First, each component of Trump's plan must be written into detailed legislation. This isn't just a matter of saying eliminate Social Security taxes. Congress needs to specify exactly which taxes are eliminated, how the lost revenue is replaced, what happens to current tax withholding arrangements, and dozens of other technical details. This drafting process typically takes several months. Next, the House Ways and Means Committee must hold hearings on the proposals. They'll call witnesses from the Social Security Administration, the Treasury Department, advocacy groups, and policy experts. These hearings often reveal problems or unintended consequences that weren't obvious in the original proposals. Committee members from both parties will ask tough questions about costs, implementation challenges, and long-term effects. The Senate Finance Committee conducts its own separate review process. Senate rules require a detailed analysis from the Congressional Budget Office showing exactly how much each proposal costs and where the money comes from. If the CBO analysis shows that the proposals significantly increase the deficit or accelerate Social Security's insolvency, some senators who initially supported the ideas might change their minds. Here's where things get particularly tricky. Social Security changes usually require 60 votes in the Senate to overcome a filibuster. Republicans currently hold 53 seats, which means they need at least 7 Democrats to join them. Historically, Democrats have been reluctant to support benefit increases that aren't fully paid for through dedicated revenue sources. Budget reconciliation offers one potential workaround, but it has strict limitations. The Senate parliamentarian must rule that each provision primarily affects federal spending or revenue, not just incidentally. Social Security changes don't always qualify under these rules. Even if they do qualify, reconciliation bills can only be used once per fiscal year for certain types of legislation. The timeline matters enormously for your monthly checks. If legislation passes in early 2025, the Social Security Administration might implement tax elimination by January 2026. However, COLA changes require extensive computer system updates and could take until 2027 to fully implement. Minimum benefit increases involve even more complex changes that might not take effect until 2028 or later. There's another factor that could derail everything: legal challenges. Major changes to Social Security often face court battles from advocacy groups arguing that the changes violate existing law or harm certain groups of beneficiaries. These lawsuits can delay implementation for years, even after Congress passes the legislation. Given all this uncertainty, you're probably wondering how to protect yourself and plan for the future. Let me share some practical steps that make sense regardless of what happens with these proposals. Don't count on money you don't have yet. I know this sounds obvious, but I've seen too many people make financial decisions based on proposed benefit increases that never materialized. Continue budgeting based on your current Social Security payments and the regular annual COLA process. If additional increases come through, treat them as a bonus rather than expected income. However, do prepare for the possibility that some changes occur. If you're currently paying federal taxes on your Social Security benefits, calculate what your monthly budget would look like with that extra money. Would you pay down debt? Build up emergency savings? Make necessary home repairs? Having a plan ready helps you make smart decisions if the windfall actually arrives. For those of you still working or approaching retirement, don't let these proposals significantly alter your Social Security claiming strategy. The fundamental mathematics of Social Security remain the same. Delaying benefits until age 70 still provides the maximum monthly payment for most people. Claiming early still results in permanently reduced benefits.
Make claiming decisions based on your health, financial needs, and family situation, not on uncertain policy changes. Stay connected to reliable information sources. The Social Security Administration's official website provides the most accurate updates about benefit changes and implementation timelines. Sign up for their email alerts to receive notifications about important developments. Avoid making financial decisions based on social media posts or news headlines that might oversimplify complex policy details. Consider consulting with a financial advisor who specializes in Social Security and retirement planning. The interactions between Social Security benefits, Medicare premiums, income taxes, and other retirement income sources can be incredibly complex. Professional guidance becomes even more valuable during periods of potential policy changes. Keep detailed records of all communications you receive from the Social Security Administration. If benefit changes do occur, having documentation of your current benefit amounts and payment history helps ensure that increases are calculated correctly. This is particularly important if you receive multiple types of benefits or have a complex work history. Most importantly, stay engaged in the political process. Contact your representatives in Congress to share your views on Social Security policy. Attend town hall meetings when your senators or representatives visit your area. Join local senior advocacy groups that monitor these issues and provide collective voice for older Americans. Your experiences and concerns matter in these policy discussions. Remember that you've earned these benefits through decades of work and payroll tax contributions. Social Security isn't a government handout, it's a promise this country made to working Americans. You have every right to expect that promise to be honored, regardless of political changes in Washington. I want to hear from you about how these potential changes might affect your situation. Are you currently paying federal taxes on your Social Security benefits? Have you received any communications from the Social Security Administration about upcoming changes? What questions do you have about how these proposals might impact your specific circumstances? Please share your experiences and concerns in the comments below. Your real-world perspectives help other viewers understand how these policies affect actual people's lives, not just abstract policy discussions. We're all navigating these uncertain times together, and your insights make our community stronger and more informed. If this breakdown of Trump's Social Security proposals helped clarify the complex realities behind the headlines, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. That way, you'll never miss important updates about benefit changes, implementation timelines, or new developments that could affect your financial security. Share this video with family members and friends who are also trying to make sense of these policy changes. The more informed our community becomes, the better prepared we all are to advocate for policies that truly serve the needs of America's seniors. Your financial security and peace of mind matter. You deserve honest, straightforward information about the policies that affect your daily life. Together, we can stay informed, stay prepared, and ensure that your voice is heard on the issues that matter most to your future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video with more updates on Social Security, Medicare, and retirement planning. Until then, take care of yourselves and remember, staying informed is your best protection against uncertainty.